நேசத்தின் நெருக்கம்.
Live from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Good evening and a warm welcome to the National News broadcast. Coming to you live from the National News Studio, I am Lakshita Dirusingha along with Sharon Mascarenes. First, our top stories.
For the first time, Sri Lanka inflicts an innings defeat on Australia in a test match. Prabhat Jayasuriya enters record books in his first test match appearance. Minister Kanchana says payments have been made to the Lanka IOC company to secure fuel stocks in the coming days. If the president resigns from his post on the 13th, appointment of a new president will take place on the 20th. The Prime Minister requests all parties to take measures to set up an all-party government. Massive people's interest to visit the President's house, Presidential Secretariat and the temple trees. The Indian High Commissioner's office in Sri Lanka reiterates that reports regarding Indian soldiers arriving in Sri Lanka are false.
On our top story for tonight, Sri Lanka has been able to achieve the unique feat of beating Australia by an inning and 39 runs in the second test of the current series today.
The victory also records the first occasion that Sri Lanka beating Australia in a test match. Other significant features of the match included Dinesh Chandimal scoring his first double century and the record-breaking bowling spell of Prabhat Jayasuriya in his first test match appearance.
Ready to start. The Australians are out there. I think the Sri Lankan batsmen should be coming out.
The match was concluded at the Galle International Cricket Stadium, where the fourth-day play commenced today. Sri Lanka was in strong position in their first innings, having 431 runs for the loss of 6 wickets. The overnight not-out batsmen were Dinesh Chandimal and Ramesh Mendis. Today's first wicket was fallen when Mendis was dismissed for 29 runs. The team's 8th wicket has fallen when Mahesh Theekshana was out for 10 runs. However, Dinesh Chandimal has recorded his first double century in Test cricket by hitting a massive sixer.
For Dinesh Chandimal. What an outstanding knock. Under pressure, in difficult conditions, against a very, very good attack. How he's managed it, how he's controlled that innings. Very well played, Dinesh Chandimal.
This was the first double century recorded by a local batsman against Australia. Chandimal's unbeaten 206 runs broke the previous high score by a Sri Lankan batsman against Australia, recorded by Kumar Sangakkara, who hit 192 runs. Chandimal's heroic innings has enabled Sri Lanka to have a lead of 190 runs against Australia. Sri Lanka has scored a mammoth 554 runs in their first innings, in reply to Australia's first innings score of 364 runs. The Australians in their follow-on lost their first wicket at the score of 49 when David Warner was out for 24 runs. Usman Khawaja managed to score 29 runs. Australian team's first 5 wickets were fallen for a mere 112 runs. The remaining batsmen were able to score only 39 runs. The Australian second innings score was restricted to 151 runs thanks to an excellent bowling performance of 6 wickets for 59 runs secured by spinner Prabhat Jayasuriya. In the first innings of the Australian innings, also Jayasuriya captured 6 wickets for 177 runs. Altogether, he had a match bag of 12 wickets and entered cricket history as the Sri Lankan bowler who had secured the highest number of wickets in the maiden test match appearance. The event also marked Sri Lanka recording the 5th occasion of securing a test match victory against Australia. Man of the match was Prabhat Jayasuriya and man of the series was Dinesh Chandimal. The current Test match series has ended with both Sri Lanka and Australia becoming co-champions. Victory in the T20 series has been secured by Australia, and Sri Lanka was the winners of the one-day tournament. The official broadcasting rights of the tournament were vested with the national television.
Well, that's the 10th wicket on debut. Taken! What a catch! What a catch! What an outstanding catch it slipped.
Oh, that's good. That's close. Kumar Dharmasena gives it. It took a long time.
Oh, they ask it, it's full, it's straight. He made contact with two sweeps. Bowled in. 6 for Jayasuriya, 12 in the game. Sri Lanka celebrate. It's been a magnificent performance. An incredible comeback after being 1-0 down, beaten in 3 days. They fought their way back. They had to make changes to the team. But new heroes, here's one, Prabhat Jayasuriya. Magnificent win here. The first time they've beaten Australia by an innings. In the 5th test win for the Sri Lankans. Prabhat Jayasuriya, Mahesh Deekshana, all on debut, playing a part. So did Kamindu Mendis. Didn't the Sri Lankan people need this? They've got some joy, some smiles thanks to these boys, showing a lot of resilience.
It has been pointed out that if the president resigns from the post on the 13th of this month, the appointment of a new president will have to be taken place on the 20th of this month. Chief Government Whip Prasanna Ranatunga said that it has been decided at today's meeting of party leaders to convene Parliament on the 15th and to call nominations for the election of a new president according to the Constitution on the 19th of this month. It has also been reported that President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has informed the Speaker that he would relinquish duties as President on the 13th of this month. Accordingly, a party leaders meeting was held to discuss on the election of a successor and future course of action. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe said on this occasion that cooperation of all parties is anticipated to establish an interim government as soon as possible. The Prime Minister has also presided over a meeting of Cabinet Ministers this morning. Prime Minister Wickremesinghe was reported to have informed party leaders that a decision has been taken to set up an interim government and thereafter the immediate resignation of the current Prime Minister and the Cabinet of Ministers. The Chief Government Whip was reported to have stated that all those engaged in the struggle should be given the opportunity to express their opinions. All party leaders were said to have agreed with the Chief Government Whip in this regard. A list of 25 names of protesters have been received. A meeting with the group is scheduled to be conducted tomorrow under the leadership of the Speaker. Several rounds of discussions with opposition political leaders and agitators have been conducted in the past few days. Party leaders have decided to prepare a joint program with protesters through mediation of opposition political parties. Parliamentarian Rauf Hakim said that it has been unanimously agreed at the party leaders' meeting that both the President and the Prime Minister should resign. He further said that in the final moment, the Prime Minister has failed to give a specific statement relating to his resignation. He further said that the Prime Minister has misunderstood the contents of his Twitter message, saying that setting of fire to his house was the result of the message.
නොහැකී සිටියයි කියලා. ඒ කාරණාව පදනම් කරගෙන තමයි එතුමන්ගේ ගෙට ගිනි තැබීමේ මේ සිද්ධිය සිදු වුණායි කියලා එතුමා වැරදි විදිහට ඒක අර්ථ නිරූපණය කරන්නට යනවා. ඉතින් මගේ එක ට්විටර් පණිවිඩයකින් මෙවැනි විශාල අලාභහානියක් එතුමාගේ ගෙදරට සිදු වුණායි කියන එක මම පිළිගන්නෙත් නැහැ. නමුත් මාධ්‍ය ඒක කොහොම වාර්තා කරාද කියලා මම දන්නෙත් නැහැ. නමුත් එතුමන් සම්පූර්ණ දේශපාලන බංකොලොත්භාවයට පත් වී සිටින බව නම් මට පෙනී යනවා.
Meanwhile, opposition leader Sajith Premadasa says the opposition is prepared to give leadership to the program to build the country. He adds that the mandate given to the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna has ended. Opposition leader Sajith Premadasa said that both the President and the Prime Minister got together and destroyed the people's mandate on the Pohottuwa government. The opposition is prepared to take over the challenge of rebuilding the economy.
මේක හැරෙන්නට වෙන විකල්ප විසඳුම. මේකට විරුද්ධ වෙන පාර්ලිමේන්තුව තුල ඉඳගෙන කවුරු හරි කඩාකප්පල්කාරී ක්‍රියාවක් කරනවා නම් ඒක අපි දකින්නේ දේශද්‍රෝහී ක්‍රියාවක් හැටියට. අපි සූදානම් මාතෘභූමිය රැකගන්න. මාතෘභූමියට නායකත්වය ලබා දෙන්න. රටේ ආර්ථිකය කොට මෞපිවට ජය වේවා. ජනතාවට ජය වේවා. අරගලයට ජය වේවා.
A meeting between the Janata Vimukti Peramuna and the 43rd Brigade recording the administrative structure of an interim government, its period and the economic and political crisis took place today. JVP leader Andrukumara Disanayaka said that there is a great disparity between the parliamentary composition and the people's mandate. Therefore, opportunities should be given to immediately elect a new parliament. He further said that they could decide upon the structure of an interim administration and related facts. Parliamentarian Partili Champika Ranamaka said that the society demands unity among groups of different political conceptions. He added that the Janata Vimukti Peramuna is also entrusted with an onerous responsibility at this crucial moment. He added that the Rajapaksa era has ended.
ඉතින් තමන් ජනතාවේ කියලා කැම්මම් අයට යම් තීරණ ගන්න පුළුවන්. නමුත් ජනතාව විසින් අනාගත මැතිවරණයකදී හෝ පසුගිය මැතිවරණයකදී හෝ ලබා දීලා
Meanwhile, a group of former governors say President of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka President's Council Salia Piris is suitable to be appointed as the president of the interim government. They said that he could be appointed to Parliament through the national list. President's Council Maitri Gunaratne and former governors Ranjit Kirti Tennakon and Asad Sali have expressed their opinions in this regard through letters to main political parties.
Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe requests all parties to take measures to establish an all-party government. He has made these remarks in a special statement issued to the media. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe said that he understands the hardships of the people and added that he accepted the post of Prime Minister as the economy was disarray. At least 1 year would be taken to arrange the basic requirements and to uplift the economy. He said the IMF has noted that around 4 years would be required to stabilize the economy. The Prime Minister further said that the house which was torched was his only house both in the country and abroad. He also said that his only treasure was the 2,500 book library. He also said that it contained limited edition and rare books. Only of many rare paintings he owned survived the fire. The Prime Minister added that only people with Hitler-like mindset torched buildings and said there was a background event that led to what transpired that night. He said at 4 p.m. on that day he spoke to the party leaders where proposals were made by the party leaders for the president to resign and to form a new government. The opposition proposed the president, Prime Minister to step down and for the Speaker to become temporary president and then form a government. The ruling faction had remained silent and thereafter the Prime Minister had proposed that the president resign and they form an all-party government, following which he would step down. The coming 2 weeks are crucial for the IMF discussions, he also said. The Prime Minister in his statement added that it would be necessary to have fuel and food purchases. He said that MP Rauf Hakim had tweeted that evening that the Prime Minister had disagreed with the party leader's decision. He further said that thereafter the tweet had gone to Sirasa Media and it was given publicity, and the other media outlets also did the same. He further said that thereafter he issued a statement expressing his willingness to step down and form a new all-party government. The other media reported it, and that was the end of it. However, Sirasa media continued to report on the matter. The Prime Minister further said that he spoke to the head of the institute and warned that his home could be set on fire. Thereafter, Sri Lanka police fired tear gas at a group and again at another group, said the Prime Minister. At that moment, a Sirasa journalist had fallen and it was alleged that he was beaten. The Prime Minister said that he apologized for that too, adding that if such an incident had taken place, a complaint should have been filed with the police to take action against the police officer in question. The Prime Minister said that instead of doing so, a message was sent around about heading to the Prime Minister's residence. When a group reached there, police used a baton charge and fired protesters, and eventually the residence was torched, said the Prime Minister. He said that the government must abide by the law and act as per the provisions of the Constitution, and he is the Prime Minister to protect the Constitution and through that listen to the voice of the people.
ප්‍රධානියාට 3 වතාවක් කතා කරා මේක කරන්න එපා අපේ ගෙවල් වලට ගිනි තියන්න පුළුවන් කියලා කිව්වා ඒත් එකක්වත් අහුම්කම් දුන්නේ නැහැ මේක කරගෙන ගියා ඒකට කණ්ඩායමක් ඇවිල්ලා හැටියදී පොලිසියෙන් එතන කඳුළු ගෑස් ගැහුවා ඊට පස්සේ ආපහු තව කණ්ඩායමකට කඳුළු ගෑස් ගැහුවා එතනදී පොලිසිය කඳුළු ගෑස් ගහන අවස්ථාවේදී එක සිරස මාධ්‍යවේදියෙක් එතන වැටුණා ඒගොල්ලෝ චෝදනා කරා ගැහුවා කියලා කොහොම හරි ඒ ගැන කනගාටුව ප්‍රකාශ කරා ඒත් එහෙම සිද්ධියක් ඇති වුණා නම් ඒ නිලධාරියාට විරුද්ධව තියෙන්නේ පොලිසියට දැනුම් දීලා පරීක්ෂණයක් ඉල්ලන්නේ. ඒ වෙනුවට මොකද්ද කරේ? වටේම යවුවා. මෙහාට එන්න මේ ගෙදරට ඇවිල්ලා තමයි කරන්න ඕන කියලා එන පාරවලුත් පෙන්නුවා. පස්සේ කිව්වා මෙතෙන්ට එන්න පොලිසිය නවත්තන්න බෑ. අපි නීති උපදේශ අරගෙන තියෙන්නේ කියලා. මේ කණ්ඩායම ආවහම පොලිසිය බැටන් පහර දුන්නා, කඳුළු ගෑස් ගැහුවා. අන්තිම එක තිබුණේ වෙඩි තියන්න. අපි වෙඩි තිබ්බේ නෑ. එයා ඇවිල්ලා මේක ගිනි තිබ්බා. ආණ්ඩුවක් වැඩ කරන්න ඕනේ නීති ආණ්ඩුව. ඒ වගේම ව්‍යවස්ථාවෙන් පිට අපි ක්‍රියා කරන්නට යන්නේ නෑ. පාර්ලිමේන්තුවටත් බල කරන්න බෑ. පිටින් ඉඳගෙන මේ වැඩ කරන්න කියලා. මම ඉන්නේ මෙතන ව්‍යවස්ථාව ආරක්ෂා කරන්න. ව්‍යවස්ථාව ආරක්ෂා කළ ව්‍යවස්ථාව තුලින් ජනතාවගේ මතයට කන් දෙන්න. අපිට අද වමනා වෙලා තියෙන සර්වපාක්ෂික ආණ්ඩුවක් ඒක ඇති කරන්නත් ක්‍රියා කරන්න.
Now, in the meantime, a communique of the President's office says all messages by President Gotabaya Rajapaksa will be released after informing of such messages to the Speaker. Therefore, the communique adds that only the communiques issued by the Speaker should be regarded as the official messages of the President.
Collective for Reforms organisation urges the authorities to ensure the fundamental rights of the citizens and facilitate for a peaceful transition of power. Speaking at a media briefing held today, the organisation made remarks over the measures which can be taken with political spare to ease the prevailing situation in the country. Former President of the Methodist Church of Sri Lanka, Reverend Bishop Asiri Pereira, also urged all the stakeholders to refrain from inciting form of violence at this crucial juncture.
9th of July is a historical day in Sri Lanka, but also a sad day. It becomes historical because the people's power has been very clearly manifested and established. During the past few months and also the past few years, our country has been going through a trauma where we discovered that the politicians were not delivering what they were expected to deliver to the nation. And as a result of it, there was a lot of uncertainty that people faced. And they kept on knocking on the doors of the politicians, knocking on the doors of the authorities of the country, but they failed to deliver what the people wanted. So, please do not blame the people of this nation for what took place on the 9th of July. That is the last resort that people could turn to because of your failure as politicians. You have a tremendous responsibility even at this time. The people are asking the relevant people to handle this situation in a responsible manner. I appeal to the people as well as to the politicians, do not utter a single word that can put the people off the track. Please do not instigate anybody in any form to resort to violence. We want absolute peaceful transition of power and authority at this time in our country.
Now, meanwhile, the Samagi Jana Balawegaya says that an all-party government under the leadership of the opposition will have to be formed. Opinions in this regard have been expressed at a media briefing today. Parliamentarian S.M. Marikas said that in order to give value to the all-party struggle, it is very clear that both the President and the Prime Minister should resign immediately, and a new President and a new Prime Minister will have to be appointed through Parliament. Only an opposition-dominated government is able to resolve the ongoing crisis. Marika also said that it is necessary to have international recognition to the newly appointed all-party government. Parliamentarian Iran Vikramaratne said that there must be a government which is acceptable to the country and the citizens as well as to the international community. Without such a recognition, Sri Lanka would not be able to come out of the crisis. The aspirations of those engaged in the struggle should be realized. He has also recalled that the Samagi Jana Balawegaya has remained with the objectives of the struggle since its inception. The stance of Sajid Premdasa has not changed. The MP also stated that some relief is needed by the people to face the pressures they are undergoing. However, this is not an easy task. Even new government would find it a formidable challenge. The reason being the economy has been put in the state of bankruptcy.
Now, a great enthusiasm among the general public to visit the President's house, the Presidential Secretariat, as well as temple trees after the agitations had been witnessed. This is the scene of large crowds flocking at the President's house in Fort Colombo. Well, those were the visuals of temple trees, and now we bring you large crowds were also present at the Presidential Secretariat in Golf Haze Green, Colombo. The opening of the new library at the Secretariat has also been witnessed.
The Indian High Commission in Colombo has denied speculative reports in sections of media and social media on India sending her troops to Sri Lanka. Issuing a statement, the Indian High Commission has indicated that these reports and such views are not in keeping with the position of the Government of India. The spokesperson of the Ministry of External Affairs of India made a clarification in this regard yesterday. Accordingly, the statement has indicated that India will stand with the people of Sri Lanka as they seek to realize their aspirations for prosperity and progress through democratic means and values, established institutions and constitutional framework.
The Police Media Division says duties of Senior SP R.A. Lienage of the Police Special Task Force has been suspended. The division has been taken according to the powers vested upon the IGP through the Establishment Code. The suspension of duties has taken place according to the approval of the Public Services Commission. He has been accused of not taking measures to prevent the assaulting of a group of media personnel of the Sirius television channel who were recording a situation near the private residence of Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe on the 9th of this month. An agitation was conducted in front of the police headquarters this afternoon over attacking and shooting at a group of protesters on the 9th of this month. A discussion between agitators and a senior DIG Asanga Karavita of the Legal Division of the Police Department was held today. The Army says it rejects reports published through social media over the Army deliberately shooting a group of protesters who had attempted to enter the President's house in Fort in Colombo last Saturday.
The Litro company says the price of a 12.5 kilogram domestic gas cylinder has been increased by 50 rupees. Accordingly, the new price of a cylinder is 4,910 rupees. Gas is being unloaded from a ship which reached the island yesterday. The Litro company says another ship carrying gas is scheduled to arrive tonight. 3,759 metric tons of gas were carried in the ship that came yesterday. The Litro company says that a substantial quantity of the stock will be distributed in the Colombo district. Chairman of the Litro Gas Company, Mudita Jayakodi, said that the first shipload of gas reached the Kerawalapitiya yard last night and unloading is taking place. He further said that 20,000 to 30,000 gas cylinders are being distributed in the Colombo district. He has also expressed opinion regarding increases in gas prices. Chairman of the Litro Gas Company, Mudita Jayakodi, said that accordingly there will be a 50 rupee increase in the price of a 12.5 kilogram cylinder. The Colombo price of a cylinder is 4,910 rupees. In outstations, a transport charge is added. Chairman of the Litro Gas Company says distribution of gas to other parts of the island has also been expedited. Chairman of the Litro Gas Company said that 70,000 gas cylinders will be released to Colombo tomorrow. A higher quantity is scheduled to be released to the outstations. Another gas ship is scheduled to arrive tonight. The Litro Company says adequate stocks of gas for the country have been ordered. Chairman of the Electrogas company, Mudita Jayakode, said that another shipload of gas carrying 3,200 metric tons is scheduled to reach the island in the night of the 16th of this month. Another ship carrying 20,000 metric tons is already at sea near the country. He further said that 4 ships carrying LP gas will arrive from the 20th. Accordingly, 33,000 metric tons of gas have already been ordered during this month.
Minister Kanchana Wijesekara says payments have been made to the Lanka IOC company for a stock of diesel and petrol with assistance of the Central Bank and the Ministry of Finance. The minister in a Twitter message says the diesel stocks would arrive between the 15th and the 17th and the petrol stocks between the 22nd and the 24th of this month. The advance payments have been made for the deliveries. He further says that the further 3 stocks of fuel are scheduled to arrive between the 12th, 15th and 14th and 16th and 15th and 17th of this month. He further said that, however, inclement weather may cause delays in the arrival. A Bowser carrying 330,000 litres of diesel to Haputale from the oil terminal in Trincomalee has turned turtle near the Haputale town at dawn today. Driver of the vehicle was admitted to the Diathalava hospital. The Bowser went off the road and hit a wall. The people were seen collecting the diesel seeped out of the Bowser.
The Ministry of Agriculture says the stock of urea fertilizer handed over to the country by the Indian government will be distributed to the agrarian services centres from tomorrow. The ministry says the transportation of the stocks by the vehicles will be monitored through GPS technology. A 24-hour unloading of 40,000 metric tons of fertilizer is taking place at the Colombo harbour. The stocks are to be unloaded within 10 days. The Ceylon Commercial Company is engaged in island-wide distribution of the fertilizer under the full supervision of the Ministry of Agriculture. Chemical reports on the quality of the fertilizer have been received from 3 international laboratories. It has been confirmed that they contain a biurate percentage of less than 1.
Disruptions to public transport services have severely impacted on the daily life and activities of the masses. Many parts in the country, including the Colombo, experience various difficulties in reporting for their duties and engage in daily activities due to the disruptions occurred in the public transport services. A private bus travelling from Gampala to Pusallava has met with an accident in Veetham Kachumalai area. 2 persons have died from the accident while inflicting injuries on many other passengers. Over 80 people were travelling in the bus at the time of the accident due to the disruptions occurred in the public transport services. Residents of the area were seen damaging and torching the bus following the accident. The Railway Department indicated that the train journeys were carried out as usual without any disruptions.
A sum of 17.85 million rupees found by a group of protesters at the President's house in Fort Colombo was handed over to the OIC Fort Police Station today. The court was scheduled to be enlightened on this issue today. Protesters who detected the money has informed about it to an official of the Special Task Force who has informed the incident to the senior SP of the Colombo Central Division. In the meantime, the government of Sri Lanka has declared tomorrow as a day of mourning for the sudden demise of former Prime Minister of Japan, Shinzo Abe. Accordingly, Secretary to the Ministry of Public Administration in a letter has requested all state institutions to half-mast the national flag tomorrow. However, the ministry has informed that tomorrow will not be a public holiday. Stay tuned with us. News from overseas coming your way after this.
හොඳම දේ විශ්වාසයෙන් ට්‍රීට් කරන්න. Prima Treats. Life is a treat.
நாடு விட்டு நாடு சென்று நாளும் முளைத்த பணத்தை வீட்டுக்கு அனுப்பும் போது பரிசு குவியல்கள்.
நீங்கள் வெளிநாட்டிலிருந்து அனுப்பும் பணத்தினை மக்கள் வங்கிக்கு அனுப்பினால் பரிசு குவியல்கள். People's Remittance கோடி அதிர்ஷ்டம் அனுப்புங்கள் வெல்லுங்கள்.
And on foreign news now, Japan's governing party and its coalition partner have scored a sweeping victory in an upper house election held in the wake of former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe's assassination. The Liberal Democratic Party won 63 seats, or more than half of 125 seats up for grabs in the election. Liberal Democratic Party's coalition partner Komeito won 13 seats. The victory in yesterday's vote means political forces supportive of revising Japan's pacifist constitution, a long-held ambition of the late Prime Minister Abe, retain a 2/3 majority in the 248-member upper chamber.
And in sports news, the 3-day practice match between Sri Lanka Cricket 11 and the touring Pakistan team commenced today. At close of play, Pakistan was 277 runs for the loss of 7 wickets.
The match is being played at Coles Cricket Stadium. Winning the toss, Pakistan opted to bat first. Babar Azam scored 88 runs while Azhar Ali scored 43 runs. Aga Salman was 43 not out at the end of day's play. Lakshya Munasinghe picked up 3 wickets. The 2-test match series between Sri Lanka and Pakistan will begin on July 16. The first test match will be played at the Galle International Cricket Stadium.
Well, that's all the stories for tonight. We'll see you tomorrow with more of the very latest. Until then, stay safe and good night.